So you're planning to move abroad, or you currently are abroad. Either way, that's awesome. Whether it be to work, as a student, to retire, or maybe even just an extended adventure, I applaud you. Most people don't have the opportunity, the willingness, nor the aptitude to do what you're doing. Be prepared for an awesome, life-changing experience. But on the discussion of being prepared, of course there's a necessity to be prepared financially and getting things in order back home and making sure that everything is ready for when you arrive in the destination. But there's one thing that's overlooked by most people, and this one thing is the most common reason why people going abroad end up coming home early. This thing is culture shock. Yes, culture shock. Now you might be thinking a couple of things. First, you might be thinking,
I'm not concerned about culture shock at all. I've done my reading and I've seen a ton of YouTube videos and even some documentaries. I'm good.
Or you might be thinking,
Yeah, culture shock's really not a thing, and even if it was, how would you prepare for that?
anyone who has lived abroad for more than a month or two will tell you that you can read and watch all you want about a new culture, but nothing compares to actually living there. There are so many facets to everyday life. There's absolutely no way for any media to capture everything that you might experience. And being faced with the fact that you'll go to sleep and wake back up day in and day out for months, if not years, in that new environment, you will feel the shock. You'll find that it's not the big things either. It'll be the little things, what you can and cannot buy in the supermarket. The way people relate and talk to you will be different. The way certain foods, specifically familiar foods, are served. The street signs, TV, billboards, banking, utilities, public transportation, and the list goes on and on and on and on. Trust me on this. There will be things that will be done differently.
So, how do you prepare for that?
Well, to be quite frank, there's not a great deal that you can do from experiencing some form of shock. But what you can do is be prepared to recognize the different stages that most people go through, so that when you're having a difficult time, you can identify where you are and recognize that there's a natural progression that you need to go through to become comfortable in your new home. An article written by a gentleman by the name of Kalvero Oberg was published in a prominent anthropology publication way back in 1960. And his hypothesis, while really simple, has become somewhat of a gold standard when it comes to understanding how one adjusts to a new cultural environment. He's often recognized as the first person to use the term culture shock. He talks about 4 stages, and understanding what these 4 stages are has helped thousands upon thousands. Before I go anywhere further, I will say that what Oberg wrote is an extreme simplification of what actually happens. Everyone will experience things differently, and these stages will differ in intensity and length from person to person. Nonetheless, it's a really valuable tool. First is the honeymoon stage. You arrive. Everything's great. Everything's new and exciting. Just waking up is a new adventure. There's nothing like this feeling either. You're bombarded by a zillion different sensations. Smells, tastes, sounds, textures. You feel alive and energized and so glad that you've arrived. This lasts anywhere from a few days to a few weeks until you start to settle in and develop a routine. Then, typically, that level of excitement begins to drop, and often it drops hard. You've entered into the culture shock stage. Or, frustration stage. You were super busy and excited by everything new in the honeymoon stage, but now that you're settling into your new life here, you begin to realize that you have very few or maybe even no real friends yet. You notice that your linguistic skills are sorely lacking, making even the little tasks a bit of a challenge. The way of doing things here is different, and it's not what you're used to nor what you're comfortable with. It's super easy to find other expats and begin heavy complaining sessions about your new home. Avoid this. Venting frustrations is one thing, but dragging on negative conversations will not help you, but will only add to your frustrations. Again, this stage happens to most expats. Seek out positive people. Seek out help from locals. They are your new community. Don't recognize this, and you risk being like this forever, and every expat knows a few people who have gotten stuck in that rut, and sometimes they never get out. They just become bitter, angry human beings. The most common length of time in this stage is between 3 and 6 months. But being proactive will put you into the upslope towards the integration stage or adjustment stage. You find a new routine. Both local and expat friends become plentiful. You begin to get used to a new language. You actively try out new foods, and you start to learn a whole new way of doing things. You're starting to settle in, and it feels better. After a few months of this, and you begin to feel really comfortable in your new environment, welcome to the adoption stage. You've got lifelong friends, a solid support system of both locals and other expats. Your new home is just that, home. And it feels comfortable. It feels good. So there you have it, 4 stages that most people go through. When times get tough, and they probably will, even for a short period of time, remind yourself that things will get better. I've created a 1-page infographic, and you can obtain it for free just by clicking the link in the description. Please keep it, and I truly hope that it helps. This is where I bring out that coffee shop tip jar. These videos, as simple as they seem, actually take a lot of time. All I ask is that you do 2 things. Click the like button for this video and subscribe. Again, thanks for watching. Until next time.